Good evening. I'm Catherine Cryer. Thanks for joining me. Well, a hockey player is slapped with one of the stiffest suspensions ever given out by the NHL after he brutally hit on another player. We'll go to the videotape later on in the show. But first, to the never-ending drama surrounding Anna Nicole Smith's death. Will we ever find out who is the father of her daughter, Danny Lynn? This week, a Bahamian judge will rule on paternity, and our own Gene Casares is there with the latest, and some surprising information as well. And what about the home Smith lived in? That battle continues to unfold as Howard K. Stern has locked himself in the home with Smith's daughter. And we're joined by Godfried Pender, who represents the owner of the home in question, and with a few opinions of their own, former prosecutor Lisa Pinto and former family court judge Janine Pirro. Pro, let me go to you first. I just described Howard's behavior as locking himself in the house. Is that what's going on? Pro, can you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
Hello?
Pro?
Yeah, has a question for me?
Yeah, a question for you is we're reporting that Howard is basically barricading himself in the house, that he's locked the door. Tell us how the eviction proceedings are going.
Well, what's going on is he doesn't want to come out for fear that if he comes out, somebody else is going to win. So he's hanging on to the principle of possession. It's 9/10 of the law. So he's hanging on.
Pro, let me interrupt just a moment. We've got a really bad connection. I want to see if we can dial up and fix that connection. And let me go over to Gene Casares while we're trying to work on that. Gene, you give us the latest there in the Bahamas.
Well, the latest here in the Bahamas, as you know, on Wednesday is going to be the hearing in regard to the home itself, the Horizons home. I heard you just say that Howard K. Stern possibly is in that home and not coming out. Well, what we know on the legal front here, and this is very sophisticated, but the first order of business on Wednesday, remember Anna Nicole Smith was a defendant in this case. She is no longer alive. So what G. Ben Thompson is going to be asking for is to have the case totally dismissed, gone, because Anna Nicole Smith is dead. What that will do is that will take the deed that has been recorded here in the Bahamas saying that G. Ben Thompson is the owner, and that will make him the full-fledged owner of the home, and then they will proceed with their eviction hearings that they are doing. They've already filed the papers. Now, what the estate for Anna Nicole Smith wants is to not have this action dismissed. They want Howard K. Stern, as the administrator of the estate, as the executor of the will, to virtually step into the shoes of Anna Nicole Smith in this suit and proceed onward to show that Anna Nicole Smith should be the owner of the home.
All right, well, I can certainly start, getting legalistic and talking about motions for summary judgment. I don't know what Bahamian law is in that regard, but it's my understanding that the owner that you just described, Thompson, is the one that shows up on the deed. You don't have oral transfers of properties, residences of this sort of value. What contest does the estate have?
Well, I think the estate is saying that, first of all, there is fraud here because of the fact, and you're right, they don't have the statute of frauds on their side. They don't have anything in writing saying that this home was a gift. But what I think they're relying on is that the documents were written up, and they were fraudulently written up. They should not have been written up. She never signed them and agreed to be paying on the home, and there was an actual deed that had her name on it as the buyer, and that deed should rule.
But the deed wasn't signed, nothing was recorded.
The deed wasn't signed, the deed wasn't recorded, you're right. But they both had the same attorney at the time called Callender and Company here in the Bahamas. They represented G. Ben Thompson at the time. They also represented Anna Nicole Smith.
Never a good idea.
Yeah.
Tell me about the other property, because I asked one of the lawyers, I'll tell you there's so many of them, it's hard to remember exactly who, but asking if Howard Stern's name appears on the other home's deed, and it's my understanding basically all the property remained in Anna's name. So how is he doing in terms of moving to the other house?
That's what we understand. The deed is solely in her name. Well, I just visited the home today. We took a lot of video pictures. We're going to show everybody on Court TV tomorrow this home. It is definitely a fixer-upper home that is being renovated. There's a brand-new bathtub out front. There's tiles on the front porch. There's a refrigerator outside. I don't see that it's inhabitable at this point for Howard K. Stern and a baby daughter. But what Mr. Pender seems to think is that if Stern is evicted from the home, that the courts will allow him to find a rental house or some place to stay with the child until this home is up to par so he can move in. But the fact is, we still don't think that he is able to apply for legal residency himself because he doesn't own any property.
Well, and it's my understanding that there are a lot of lawsuits pending against the estate that were certainly live when Anna was still with us. We've heard over and over again about borrowing money for this and for that. Did she buy the house outright? Is there a mortgage on this property? Does Howard have access to money to basically continue to live there in the Bahamas?
So many questions, and there just aren't the answers there. Is the house paid for outright? We don't know. I can tell you nobody's living in it. It is being renovated. That costs money. You don't renovate a home for free. So somebody's paying for that, right? And as far as the decisions with the estate, are they being made? I know that in the actions coming up in the next 2 days, there are going to be attorneys representing her estate. That can't happen for free. Attorneys will be representing Howard K. Stern. That's not for free. So something has to be paid for somewhere.
All right,
by someone.
I think we've got a better connection with Pro, so we'll see if we can get some of these questions answered. What is the status on the eviction, Pro?
The status at this time?
Yes.
Well, the status at this time is Wednesday we go into court in order to ask for the court to grant us legal possession of the house and to indicate that our client, G. Ben Thompson, is a true owner. They have another house in Coral Harbor off Ranfilly Drive, which is an indication that they believe this particular house is not theirs. And they're renovating it now and trying to fix it up in order to have it apply maybe to Howard K. Stern's application for permanent residence. So they're doing what they should do because they know this house is not theirs and they can't keep it.
All right, and at this point in time, your client has the house up for sale?
Yeah, he has the house up for sale for $10 million, and it's worth it at this time. Originally, the house was $3 million, but he bought it for $900,000.
All right, it's amazing how little attention can up the value of a piece of real estate. Okay, Pro, I want to ask you a couple of questions about another developing scandal down there, but let me get Gene to lay the predicate for me. Gene, I want to play a soundbite first. This is a soundbite from Shane Gibson, and we'll explain who he is. These are some phone calls to Anna Nicole. Take a listen.
Anna Nicole, please leave a message.
Next message from phone number 95460.
Anna, Shane calling. It's now Friday the 15th, approximately 10 o'clock in the night. And I thought it must be about 7 o'clock where you are. Yes, you give me a call on my regular cell phone. Shane calling. It's now 9:30 here. On the 16th of December. Call later. Shane calling. It's Saturday the 16th at 7:25 p.m. Shane calling.
Next message from phone number 954608. Received yesterday at 9:05 p.m. Next message received at 8:32 a.m.
Shane calling. Sunday the 17th of December, 11:38 a.m.
Okay, Gene, this is a top Bahamian immigration official. We've heard his protestations that his mother took care of Danny Lynn, his wife, kids were all friends with Anna's, but this guy is calling her repeatedly, and we had seen a picture, I believe it was in one of the tabloids, of he and Anna curled up with clothes, but basically kind of embracing in a bed. What's the story? How are the Bahamians taking this?
This is a very big issue here in the Bahamas, extremely, because this is the man that gave her the legal residency, which allowed her to stay with Stern and then the baby here in the country, in the Commonwealth. So this man, Shane Gibson, had to resign once those pictures came out. And by the way, they first appeared on the front newspapers here in the Bahamas of she and the immigration minister cheek to cheek, basically. But the Commonwealth isn't over it yet. They're very concerned that not only maybe she wasn't legally a resident here, but it was fast-tracked. You know, people have to wait months and months to become legal residents here in the Bahamas, and they are concerned that she became that legal resident in a very short period of time.
Pro, what's your take on this? I bet you're getting the word in the courthouse.